Hi, seventh graders. We are getting started in chapter 7 today. The first lesson in chapter 7 is on circle graphs and really representing how data can be found everywhere in the world. When scientists conduct experiments, they collect data. Advertising agencies collect data to learn which products consumers prefer. In earlier lessons, we developed histograms and box plots to represent the center, the mean, and the median, and spread of the data. How can you represent data that is not numerical or that cannot be represented on a number line? Today, we're going to look at circle graphs, which can be used for categories or groups of data. So you'll be analyzing data and constructing a circle graph based on a situation. But a few reminders and things first. Circle graph basics. As we know, circles are made up of 360 degrees. Here's a new term. A central angle is an angle with its vertex at the center of a circle. So when a circle graph is broken up into parts, the central angle is the measure of that section as a portion of 360 degrees. The portions can be represented as fractions and or percentages of that circle. So here is an example where the degree measurements are there and the corresponding percentages of 360 degrees. So these measurements can be calculated and used to analyze data related to various real life situations. Here are a couple other circle graphs just to show a few calculations, favorite pizza toppings, and family budget. So we can use the percent as a decimal multiplier to determine the angle measure of the portion of the circle graph that each pie piece, so to speak, represents. So if we go, first of all, with the 25%, which is purple in the top graph and blue in the bottom graph, 25% as 0.25 times 360 gives us that 90 degrees. 90 degrees is 1/4 or 25% of 360. We can use any one of those percentages. For instance, 15% would be a 54 degree measure, and 35% would be a 126 degree measure as the portion of the circle, representing the different values that are there. Now, these are pretty straightforward numbers to work with. You are going to get numbers where you might have 48% or 26.5%. The percent is not as relevant as knowing how to turn that into a decimal multiplied by 360, and that gives you that central angle measurement. So please refer back to this as needed. Here you are going to be working on a real life application situation that does come from the textbook. It's about two guys that are looking at buying a car, and they have a variety of cars within their price range, and cars, pickups, SUVs, and minivans that you are going to be analyzing and collecting some data. So when you open your own set of slides, which is the assignment you will turn in, you'll be able to type directly into this table to fill in the information, the quantities, which you take directly from the situation, figure out the fractions of the total, go ahead and simplify those fractions, then the corresponding percent that those fractions relate to, and then using that calculation to figure out what those central angle degree measurements are. So that is your data that is going to be helpful. Obviously, when you're working, you won't necessarily work in present mode, but then we would like you to make a circle graph to represent their car buying situation. And Mrs. Walk and I found two different online tools. One of them is the CPM spinner tool. So this should take you, as it's loading up here, to this blank spinner. And this one is divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sections. So based on the information that you are getting from that car buying situation, we're not going to use it as a spinner, but it works great as the circle graph. You can adjust your subdivisions. 10 does work great for this one, but you can color code. So you could pick 4 different colors for the different kinds of cars, color the number of sections. The other thing you can do is these little labels come up, so you can label what they represent, what each of your colors represent. So that is the CPM spinner tool that we can make a graph with. And the other one here is Jamboard, something new. It is part of the Google applications. It should be available in your waffle on your Google account. But here's just a screenshot of the story problem. And here it says make a copy of this Jamboard and click on the dots next to the share button. So right up here, you'll make your own copy. And here, these tools allow you to do some coloring. So you could, color the different sections. You can add your own little text boxes and things. So you could create your graph. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. You can create your graph in here as well. So this is one that you can play around with in either one. What you will do after you create it is take a screenshot of your finished spinner, and your screenshot will get pasted on this next slide. Okay, and that wraps up the practice related to Nate and Rick buying their car. Then there are a couple other questions to answer in relation to these graphs, which talk about population growth from 1950 to 2000 to projected in 2050. Once you answer the questions on these slides, again, you can type directly in your own slides and put your answers in these text boxes. Then you will just turn in your slides when you finish. So thanks. We will do more of this work tomorrow. So you should, get some practice. If you've got questions along the way, please reach out to a classmate or to your teacher. Thanks.